Greetings, traveler. You think you know Barbas? Wrong. He is not just a dog, and saving him in Skyrim may have been a mistake. Enjoy watching. Let's start with some general lore. Barbas is known as the Hound of the Daedric Prince, Clavicus Vile. But he is not just a companion. He is in fact a part of the prince himself. The lore says Barbas holds a very large part of Vile's power, around half of it. This makes him unique among the Daedra. In an old imperial essay, The Vile Truth of Barbas, the unknown author wrote, Barbas and Clavicus Vile are basically one being in two forms. The master is also the servant. The guide is also the hound. Barbas is not just a dog. He is half of Clavicus Vile himself. Imagine, your pet holding half your soul and power.
What the
So who is the master then? Clavicus. Or the hound, who holds half his strength. Barbas is not just a pet. He is a projection, an aspect of Vile with his own mind but always linked to the prince. Barbas has been with Clavicus Vile since ancient times. In the Merethic Era, there were already cave paintings and idols. On them, beside the masked figure of Clavicus Vile, there always stood a great hound. There is no known image of Vile without Barbas at his side. This shows their bond goes back to the earliest days. Later in the Second Era, Barbas appeared in famous events. In 2E864, during the adventure of Cyrus, in the spin-off game Redguard, considered canon, Barbas took a humorous role. He came to Oblivion, where Clavicus kept the soul of Cyrus's sister, and Barbas amused himself by changing faces, first into many strange creatures, and even into the face of Cyrus himself. Clavicus once said that Barbas enjoys being a hound, but also other shapes. This is a clear hint of his ability to change form as he wishes, so from the very beginning, Barbas is always close to Vile, and episodes like the meeting with Cyrus show his free shape-shifting and playful nature, long before the main storylines of the Elder Scrolls series. During the events of Morrowind, Barbas acted in secret, in a form no one expected. Lore later confirmed a famous fan theory. The scamp merchant called Creeper, who lived in the town of Caldera on Vvardenfell, was in fact Barbas himself. This scamp stayed with a group of orc mercenaries buying and selling goods. Such behavior was very unusual for a Daedra. It clearly showed Barbas was hiding among mortals. Later, Barbas even admitted,
I was once a Redguard. For some time I was a scamp making deals with orcs. Now I am his hound, serving Lord Clavicus.
So Barbas' time in Morrowind, as Creeper, was part of his missions, or perhaps just one of his games, for the sake of his master. Here's the strange part. Barbas actually warned against his own master's command. During the Oblivion crisis, Barbas played a key role in Clavicus Vile's quest, the story of the sword Umbra. When the hero of Kvatch came to the shrine of Clavicus beside the statue of the prince, there was a stone dog. In this statue, Barbas appeared so he could speak to the hero. Barbas introduced himself and told of his past forms.
I am Barbas, the Hound of Clavicus Vile. I was not always a dog, and not always called Barbas. Once I was a Redguard. For some time I was a scamp making deals with orcs. Now I am his hound, and I serve Lord Clavicus.
His main goal was to warn the hero about a dangerous mistake. Speaking of Umbra, Barbas said,
You made a bad deal. That sword is trouble. It always ends badly. Just walk away. Believe me, it will be better.
Later, if the hero killed the bearer of Umbra, Barbas continued to beg.
I mean it. Don't bring this sword back to Clavicus. It will ruin him, you will see. Keep the blade if you wish, but don't give it to Vile. He does not always know what is good for him.
These words show that Barbas foresaw the danger of Umbra's return to his master. He even tried to resist Vile's direct command, acting instead to protect both the prince and the mortal world. If the hero listened, Barbas sighed in relief.
Good job, kid. Some things are better left alone. Let's return to the shrine and I'll deal with the big guy. I'm sure he'll understand.
After the quest, no matter the choice, Barbas returned to Oblivion, and Clavicus admitted he was glad to reunite with his hound, even if he was annoying. The hero received the Mask of Clavicus Vile. If Umbra was given up...
Stop right there, criminal scum!
So in Oblivion, Barbas appears as a wise advisor trying to stop disaster. He acted almost like the conscience of Vile, secretly guiding mortals against the prince's own will, to prevent the chaos of Umbra's curse. Later novels like Lord of Souls confirmed Barbas was right. Returning Umbra did bring chaos to Oblivion. In Skyrim, Barbas finally appears in his most famous form, a great talking hound. The quest is called A Daedra's Best Friend. Clavicus Vile had a quarrel with his hound, and let him go for a time. Separated from his master, Barbas grew weaker. He hid in the forests near Falkreath, and locals even noticed a stray dog wandering. When the Dragonborn finds him, Barbas suddenly speaks.
Skyrim is threatened by flying lizards and walking catmen. And you are shocked that a dog talks? Yes, it's me speaking, and I'll keep talking.
This famous line shows his wit and his calm way of dealing with wonders. Barbas asks the Dragonborn to help him make peace with Clavicus. Their quarrel has weakened the prince, who could appear in Tamriel only near his shrine while Barbas was apart. After this, Barbas follows the hero as a companion. Together they travel to Hymar's Shame, the hidden shrine of Clavicus. Vile agrees to take back his hound, but first sends the hero for the rueful axe. Before we move on, just a quick note. If you enjoy these deep dive stories, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I've shared my thoughts, now I'd love to hear yours. What do you truly think about Barbas? And if you'd like to support the project, the Ko-fi link is in the description. At the end, the Dragonborn faces a choice. Clavicus offers to let the hero keep the axe if he kills Barbas. That way, the hound returns to Oblivion and Vile gets silenced for some centuries. Or the hero can keep the first deal, give the axe to Vile and reunite him with Barbas. If the Dragonborn spares the dog, Barbas happily becomes part of the statue of Clavicus again, thanking the hero. The prince admits with some irritation.
Well, he is annoying, but without him, I'd be worse off.
But if the hero agrees to kill Barbas, the axe stays as a poor reward, and Clavicus laughs that life without his hound is better. Throughout the Second Era, Barbas often meddled in mortal affairs, taking many different forms. His appearances are well documented between 2 E582 and 2 E584. An Altmer novice, Percarmo, made a reckless pact with Clavicus Vile. As a result, Barbas was chained to a forgotten shrine inside Willowgrove Cave. The vestige destroyed the shrine, freed Barbas, and dispersed the Atronachs. In this story, Barbas, in hound form, appeared more as a victim of the deal than a schemer. An orc trader, Zagrug, summoned a scamp helper named Creeper, but the scamp was actually Barbas. Later, Zagrug was found dead, and Creeper took over his underground shop. This is told through Zagrug's journal, leaving some room for interpretation. This directly ties Barbas to the identity of the legendary Creeper, already known to players in Morrowind. Barbas disguised himself as Archcanon Tarvus, the high priest of Vivek's temple. In truth, the real Tarvus was killed and replaced, a detail lore fans may recall. With the Staff Sunara, he slowly drained Vivek's divine power. For a time, the vestige unknowingly assisted him. Eventually, the truth was revealed, and in the final battle, Barbas transformed into a Scaphan to wield Vivek's stolen strength. He was defeated, and Clavicus Vile himself appeared to claim the remaining power in the staff. Had Barbas's plan succeeded, all of Vvardenfell might have been destroyed by the fall of Bardao. After Nocturnal's betrayal shattered the Triad Alliance, Barbas appeared once more in his hound form. He sought out the hero and delivered Vile's message, explaining that his master was furious, and now sought a new bargain. Acting as a mediator, Barbas warned the vestige not to provoke Vile further. He later guided the hero to a cave meeting, but carefully stayed aside when the fighting began. Even though Barbas is formally a servant, he has a strong personality and often acts on his own. He is known for his humor, sarcasm, and even a kind of moral tone. Clavicus sometimes grows tired of him. The prince often becomes weary of Barbas and leaves him, as happened before the events of Skyrim. But Barbas is not just obedient. Many times he tries to warn mortals about his master's tricky plans. Though Barbas appears a loyal servant of Clavicus, he often warns mortals of the prince's plots. This shows he has his own judgment and will. Examples include his repeated advice not to return Umbra in Oblivion, his warnings to the Dragonborn about Vile's double-edged orders in Skyrim, his softer attitude to mortals in Summerset. So Barbas often plays the role of Vile's conscience, as much as a Daedra can, sometimes stopping the most reckless wishes of the prince. At the same time, Barbas is witty and sharp-tongued. He knows current events and loves to joke. When the Dragonborn was surprised a dog could talk, Barbas mocked the absurdity. He mentioned dragons and Khajiit walking around. Barbas could even laugh at himself, admitting he was a talking dog who somehow always annoyed his master. This honesty shows he understands both his nature and Vile's opinion of him. He never betrays the prince, but he does not follow orders blindly. He may joke behind Vile's back or make his own choice, like during the conflict with Nocturnal, when he stayed aside rather than make things worse. From the dawn of Tamriel's history to the days of the Dragonborn, Barbas has always been at Clavicus Vile's side, sometimes as a hound, sometimes a scamp, sometimes even in human form. He is not only a servant, he is half of the prince himself. Through the ages we see his dual nature, playful and witty, always ready with a joke, but also wise, warning mortals of dangers that even his master ignores. In Oblivion he spoke against Umbra. In Skyrim he begged the Dragonborn to make the right choice. In Esso he could be both enemy and ally, changing shapes as easily as words. So, was it truly right to save him in Skyrim? Yes, because without Barbas, Clavicus Vile is weaker and darker. Barbas is the side that laughs, that warns, that sometimes even protects. He is the balance, the conscience, the better half of his master. Not just a hound, not just a servant, but the other self of Clavicus Vile. The half that keeps both his master and maybe our world from falling too far into darkness. Thank you for watching, Traveler. If you enjoyed this tale of Barbas, leave a like and subscribe. It helps more than you think. See you in the next video.